Today on the Miniature Models Podcast, we're talking about one of the oldest traditions of model railroading, the relationship between toy trains and Christmas, and some of our wonderful memories of models past and present. All this and more. So get your ticket from the station, grab a seat, and make sure you don't miss the train. Board! Good evening, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to episode 68 of the Miniature Models Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, John Schwartz, and with me as always are my co-hosts, Matt Z and Johnny. Guys, how are we tonight?
Doing pretty good, man. I'm really excited for tonight's episode, like all of them. I think this one's going to really hit home, especially for the layout that I'm building here, which we'll definitely get into that later on. But I'm really excited for tonight. How you doing, Johnny?
Good. Things are festive here at the Miniature Models recording studio. There's fake snow everywhere, though I'm pretty sure Matt Z just ran around dumping powdered mashed potatoes everywhere. He sprayed the old autumn squash white for some reason, called it a Christmas tree, and I think he's covered my... Yep, he has gift wrapped my stapler again. So yeah, pretty festive here.
That's right. The giant motion sensing Santa startles us every time we go into the restroom. It's a good time.
How about you, John? How are you doing, my man?
I've been doing great. It's getting festive here. I'm enjoying our topic tonight. We got a good show for everybody. It's going to be a great time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Let's get to it here. When we last joined our intrepid heroes, they had welcomed their new host and battled the perils of introspective questions. But what have they been up to since? Matsy, what have you been up to?
Yeah, I've been, first of all, John, that was a great David Bowie impression from, SpongeBob when he did the fish.
I would love it if, and I don't know if he'll do this. Obviously, Matt R is not with us here tonight. He had some other things he needed to do, but he is currently listening to us for the first time, just like you guys are, while editing the show. But I would love it if Matt R edited your voice to be like one of those like old like 1920s radio announcers with like the crunchy, crispy microphone as well.
Yes.
No, listen here, Johnny. He doesn't need to do anything like that because I have all my own Foley work. I can do everything myself. Say, yeah, say.
You'd be Tom Schneider, right?
You sound like Tom McComas when we first started when you did your intro.
Yeah.
But anyways, Matt, what you been up to, dude?
Oh, man, I've been up to a lot. You know what? I got my plywood. Would you imagine this? Holy smokes. I got the plywood.
I still can't believe it.
It's a hologram.
Me too. I look over next to me and see the layout. I'm like, I can't believe it. It looks like a railroad. You know what I mean? But no, we've been doing that. I've been, laying track. I got up a catenary system going so I can run my electrics. Thank you, John. And I can check out all that New Haven stuff. Someone's got to buy New Haven, I guess.
That's right.
But we got that going. So we got a lot of work to do. Working on the the Christmas winter theme. So perfect for tonight. And so a lot of work to do, but we'll be getting there slowly but surely. John, what you been up to, man?
Do you throw that at John or Johnny? I couldn't
Yeah, which
tell.
Johnny? Which?
John. Sorry.
Oh, me, John. Yay. I have been up to trying to just keep my sanity in surrounding the fact that Christmas is a couple weeks away. I still feel like I'm expecting Thanksgiving to happen. I have to remind myself that it has already occurred. Have not been anything train related. Nothing too crazy, honestly. I've actually been downsizing a few pieces out of my collection because you guys might know I don't have a layout currently. And sometimes when your stuff is in storage, you go back and look at it and you're like, why do I own that? Who thought that was a good idea? So I've been, it's a good time of year to be selling some stuff. So I've been purging some rolling stock pieces out, pushing them on my unwitting friends, trying to, hey, yeah, you want to see this? Hey, I got some bulkheads here. Yeah. Come on. But other than that, nothing too crazy. Just I've been enjoying. One thing I've been really enjoying is seeing everybody getting their new items in. Usually around this time of year, Lionel and the various companies start shipping out their items from the previous year's catalog. So we're starting to see a lot of items trickle in. We're starting to see decapods and the 20th Century Limiteds, and it's been really fun just getting to see everybody's new pieces they've got and discussing them and seeing the videos slowly trickle in on YouTube. It's still got that sort of like, I don't really know how to describe it. It's got kind of that middle school old YouTube vibe of the first time something would appear on YouTube and you're like, oh, it's out. I can hear what it's all about. Yeah, I can see what's going on, you know, the shaky video and trying to like talk about it with friends. So I just enjoy that sort of that's still kind of been something we can expect from the YouTube community. And we've been seeing some really good videos of the stuff. And I'm for one, I'm always excited to see the new products come out. So that's mainly what's been going on with me. Johnny, what about you?
It's been pretty busy here since we last did our show. The biggest thing that I've done that I'm very proud of. So obviously I've gained the reputation of Johnny Blunami after our DCC episode, my video.
That's right.
Also, we actually got that episode that we did with DCC. Soundtracks promoted it, so thank you, folks at Soundtracks who listened to our episode. I don't know if you listen to this one, but if you are, cool. But thank you so much for the shout out. Would love to have them on in the future. So maybe
yes,
that
we
could
would.
Be a cool part 2. But on that topic, last time we did the show regarding DCC, I only really knew anything about Blunami in regards of being the end user of having it already installed in a product done by Sid. And I've got 2 Blunami steam locomotives, my Mogul and my Cab Forward. But I never really actually installed Blunami for myself. I've actually never done any form of upgrade ever. So after Thanksgiving, I took advantage of the Black Friday sales and I bought myself a bunch of kit to do upgrades. So soldering iron, wire, solder, tools, X, Y, and Z. And then I also bought a Blunami board, a diesel board, because diesels are quite simple to do. And with some guidance from Sid and his video, I actually was able to upgrade my Cydia San Francisco E6s, which were formerly PS2 3-volt, formerly PS2 5-volt, which exploded, and made it a much nicer engine. I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with Blunami with their diesel sounds, and I'm really impressed by how easy the upgrade was. Like, I am not electrically inclined at all. And I was able to do it within basic functions like movement and sound in like one sitting, and then lights the next day. It's so easy, and I'm very proud of how it turned out. So very excited to see what other things I can upgrade later down the line, because I know some of our Chicago buds will probably ask me to attempt it for them. But yeah, pretty cool, and very excited about that.
Yeah, Johnny, those things, I got to say, that's a great topic to bring up. You did an amazing job on those. I'm excited for myself because I have many projects planned out for Blunami now that it's we've gotten so into it. But yeah, man, you did a fantastic job on those diesels. It was really, really great to hear how they sounded. Like you said, Soundtracks has fantastic options when it comes to diesels as well as their steam. And the fact that you were able to do that, you know, a beginner technically doing his first diesels on that is fantastic that it was so easy. And it was fun doing the research too with you on the horns as my purview. That was really cool. And you did such a great job on those things, man. Perfect model to do it. I absolutely love them.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you for helping me find out what horn to put in. I was going to put in the Auga horn, but you know, it's nice to have an accurate horn too.
Oh, you could the Auga horn actually, shockingly, it actually fit kind of well. So I welcome and encourage you to be using that one frequently.
So when you're here, I'm going to use the Auga horn, and then when Matt Z finally leaves Borderline Canada, I will play the O Canada horn for him.
Yes. Oh, I forgot it has that.
Yeah. I'm waiting on my centipedes. I'm going to hopefully get to those. Well, it'll be next year at this point, but that'll be my first taste of Blunami, so I'm excited to check that out.
100%.
But congrats on your upgrade, Johnny. Really cool.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
All right. Well, we here at the Miniature Models Podcast are also getting into the holiday groove by bringing back our annual holiday photo contest. On our community Discord server, we have created a special thread called Photo Contest where you can post your best holiday train photo for a chance to win a mystery prize.
Ooh.
We do ask that you limit one photo per member and have an underlying theme of railroading as well. Deadline for those photos is the 31st, so be sure to get those entries in. There's also a general holiday photo thread as well, so make sure you're posting in the correct place, and we can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Disclaimer, grand prize will not be hand-delivered by Matt Z wearing a cheap mall Santa suit.
Looking to expand your collection? Check out Trainz.com. Trainz is your go-to place for new and used model railroad products. They have everything ranging from engines, rolling stock, parts, track, and scenery. If you need it, they probably have it. With new discounts being added daily, you'll be sure to find something you like. Plus, Trainz offers a newsletter which keeps you up to date on new items, discounts, and upcoming promotions. We've been using Trainz for years, and we highly recommend their stellar service. What's really cool is you can also collect points by buying Trainz and using them on future purchases. With their awesome rewards program, you can earn points on every purchase that you can use for future discounts. Dedicated modelers can also join their private card membership to get exclusive access to new listings, earn 5 points per dollar spent, and unlock great benefits like no questions asked returns. Trainz not only sells trains, but also buys them too. If you got a large collection or are interested in downsizing and making some cash, you can head on over to sellmytrains.com. It doesn't get easier than that. You can find them using our affiliate link, www.trainz.com/MMOP, or if you want to use our one-time promo code MMOP, you can get $10 off a single purchase on the Trainz.com website. So check out Trainz.com and start expanding your collection today.
So let's jump into the heart of our discussion tonight, which involves the age-old pairing of the holiday season and our favorite topic on this show, trains.
I personally like eggnog better.
Oh God, I can't stand eggnog.
No, no, trash basket.
Oh, thank you.
I've had eggnog maybe like a handful of times, and it's been okay. I don't understand the appeal of it, but
if you guys love it, you go right ahead. I don't even know what it is. Like, I never understood.
Me neither.
What is it? What's the deal with eggnog? What's the deal with eggnog?
Custard with extra steps. Well,
Who would like eggnog, Jerry? Someone with no respect.
Well, I guess that brings a good. So obviously we did eggnog. Not a great thing. Hot chocolate, I feel like, is universally adored during.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Hot chocolate is where it's at.
Right.
Yeah.
Now I really enjoy using, or when I used to use smoke fluid because I started weathering things. I don't use smoke very often. So hot chocolate smoke fluid was always a go-to, especially during the holiday seasons. What about you guys? What smoke fluids would you guys use during the holiday seasons?
Christmas, the MTH Christmas. I use that. I almost use it all year round, but I really like that one. That one always smells really good. I like that.
How about you, John?
Oh man. Well, see, I'm one of those guys, again, with that whole immersion factor. I liked to put different smoke fluids into different things. Like, for example, the one that always sticks with me, though, on my old layout, when I had my traditional scale layout, I had one of those Lionel smoking diners that's in the style of the, what is it, like the Baby Madison coach? So it had a great little smoke unit, and they would just kind of wisp out smoke. And I put maple syrup from the Mega Steam, JT's Mega Steam maple syrup smoke fluid in there. I tell you what, when my stuff went into storage, I still have stuff that smells like maple syrup. I don't even have the diner anymore. Just from like some of my boxes still smell like that maple syrup. So that is a very nostalgic smell for me. In my trains, I always like just using the goat smoke fluid. For me is just the regular unscented quote unquote MTH fluid, which of course has a scent. That's the smell of childhood for me. So even though it's not really like a Christmas scent, that smell always reminds me of the holiday season and running my trains is just the unscented MTH smell. So yeah, typical me, not into the holiday one, but yeah, maple syrup and the unscented. Those are my two favorites to run.
John,
go ahead.
John, it has a scent. It's called nostalgia.
That's right. I still say that some of the other companies should make MTH scented smoke fluid, like that smells like the MTH brand. Because it is a smell. Anybody who's used MTH fluid knows that smell. The burning in your throat after you've hotboxed the entire room with smoke fluid.
Huh. So when I was running my centipedes the other day, and I had to open and close the window 10,000 times.
Is
What's up, Johnny? Go
is
ahead.
the MTH smoke fluid the one you put into the GS that came here recently? Madsy?
Oh, I believe so. Yes, it was either that or Christmas. One of them.
I think it was MTH smoke fluid because I got nostalgia when I ran that. I didn't intend to run it with smoke. It was just on, so I was like, oh shoot, I didn't press the button fast enough to turn off smoke. But it was nostalgia. That smell. That or like I think it was like I don't remember the brand. I don't know if it was MTH, but it's like the Arctic something. I don't know what it was, but I got a bottle of it. It's like 20 years old. Doesn't work worth a damn anymore. It besides just putting it in there and it does nothing. But that one's nostalgia because it's that smell you get when you open up a train box for the first time in forever from your childhood.
Oh yeah,
I'll tell you another.
Go ahead.
Sorry, John. Go ahead.
Oh no! I was just acknowledging. Go right ahead.
Okay. Another good one that I tried out for the first time last year was the Marks and the Smoke Pellet. Those ones are pretty good too. Those are both from GT.
I've smelled the smoke pellet one. That's a good one too. I'm sure that's very nostalgic for a lot of people, especially post-war operators. I've never tried the Marks one. I've heard it's interesting. It's an interesting scent.
If I had to put in a word, it was almost like ozone-y kind of, if that makes sense. Kind of almost like that smell.
Burning electronics.
Oh yeah, we don't want that one. That's for sure.
That's fish. That's a fishy smell.
It is a fishy smell.
The smelly smell that smells smelly.
Resistors.
Oh, you know what? I think that's what the nostalgia factor was when I smelled your smoke fluid you used in the GS when I ran it the other day, Madsy. I don't think it's as much of like my own Trainz per se, but the smell of a hobby shop when they've done a test run of something to demo for a customer. Because I by my local hobby shop that I grew up going to was America's Best Train and Hobby in Itasca, Illinois. And their back wall is where they have all their O scale stuff. Or whenever they demo an engine, they crank the smoke up. And I was immediately whisked back to standing in front of that glass counter as Tim, the guy at the hobby shop, was running the engine, and then that wafting smell of the smoke fluid left over from him demoing the engine and just being there around the holiday seasons. That was the nostalgia that I had.
I've noticed too with a lot of these that, like I'll, run the trains and then I'll shut them off, and then just the smell in the air is just enough to, like you said, just kind of like take you back.
Well, eventually it starts permeating into everything, in all your boxes and everything, and your the wood on your layout, and it just becomes like a normal thing. Heck, even your clothes, possibly. Yeah, that. Oh man, Johnny, what you were saying about the hobby shop, man, that gets me back to the soundtrack I always like to hear of a hobby shop whenever you open the door. Just hearing the chuffing of an MTH steam, that beat of the engine running around either a layout or being tested. That always takes me back. And just that also, I'm sure you guys know this too, that like kind of, you get this sometimes too if you go to like a really old like train station or like a layout like that's been up for a long time. You get that kind of like cardboard mixed with old like lumber smell. It's kind of indescribable. We're train weirdos, so we do this. Like the smell of like the inside of a train box, like a really old one, is so amazing. That needs to be a Yankee Candle. You guys know what I'm talking about? That kind of smell.
Yes, I'm very familiar with that smell. Hobby shops are so fun to be out at during the holiday season, though. Unless you're working behind the counter, then it's hectic, and
then it's hell. Right.
Yeah. But like as a customer, and if you're not trapped there all day, the buzz of excitement and just people going in there wanting to buy a tray. What is the piece that we're buying for under the tree this year to expand the layout, or somebody trying to buy a train set for their grandchild or their child for the first time, or reliving that Christmas memory for the first time. It's really exciting to watch that happen from like a customer perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that's kind of always fun, if you have a really good hobby shop, what's cool is sometimes you almost get like this community that builds up around the hobby shop where you'll go in and you'll see, your friends, familiar faces, because I mean, let's face it, there's, you know, hobby shops have dwindled. There's only so many places to go now. So it's pretty easy to run into people, and you get almost this kind of camaraderie thing where even strangers going in there, you start talking because, I mean, you know, you're there for similar reasons, Trainz, obviously. So you get that kind of like helping mentality, and like you'll get regular customers maybe asking you questions, and, you know, just talking with people who might not be part of the community. And it's a really good way to like bring that holiday cheer and spread friendship and just talk with people about, you know, who might not know as much about the hobby as we do. Me personally, I always like when I see that happen in my local stores.
Oh, 100%. And there's also that little, you know, that rare occasion where somebody who you see is struggling with getting into the hobby at the hobby shop, and they're like, I don't know if I should do this than this. And you kind of just go, you're being helpful, and you're like, oh, actually, you should do this. Or you're like, oh, I would recommend this. And then they get real excited about that. You gave them that recommendation, and you get that good feeling in your heart, too, that you help somebody out in the hobby. I love that.
Absolutely.
Well, speaking of getting into the hobby, you know, a lot of people, this kind of borderlines on the holiday topic, and sometimes it doesn't. Your first train set, you know, did you guys get your first train set during Christmas time? Or are there memories of Christmas trains or items you got during Christmas time? I'll open this to either of you if you can think of anything.
Metsy, why don't you start there?
Okay. For me, you know, the very first set I got was one that was from my great grandfather, and it's actually not here right now. It's at my grandparents' house, but eventually it'll come back to me at some point. But you know, I mean, the Christmas and trains, you know, I always had, you know, a little something underneath the tree, and you know, back in, you know, my younger time, I always got, you know, starter sets. So, you know, I always usually pull out whatever starter set was, you know, gifted to me, and I always ran that under the tree. I don't do that anymore nowadays, but so I have the layout that'll be my basically all year around the tree type deal. But always got, you know, always really cool sets. I remember when I got like the Polar Express, and, you know, a lot of like the Lionel starter sets of the day, and then kind of branch into MTH stuff like that. So it was like, you know, always really cool to have, you know, sets of the time that were, you know, obviously holiday or not, really cool.
Polar
Definitely,
Express.
Absolutely.
The Polar Express, you can't get more Christmassy than that. John, did you have one of those growing up? Or
I did. I actually got a Polar Express a little bit later, after the movie. My first, God, I'm trying to think now. My first trains, I think both of my first train sets, because I have several milestone train sets I consider. My first, if we're going all the way back, my first train set was when I was, maybe 2 or 3. It's one of my first memories. I don't think I got it for Christmas. It might have been a birthday. I can't remember. Maybe it was Christmas. Well, I'll say it here anyway because it was first. One of my earliest memories was getting a Thomas Wooden Railway figure 8 set. It was a little loop of track with a bridge. I think I got a shed with it, and then I think I got James as well. And that's one of my earliest memories is setting that up and playing with that. But I don't remember if that was Christmas per se or not. And then I jumped into HO. One of my other sets was like a lifelike set. I still have it. It looks like it's been to the bottom of the ocean and back, halfway around the world. But good God, it's a lifelike and it survived. But no, my first real, when I got into the first real love was I remember, I think it was maybe my fifth. I think I was 5 years old, 4 or 5. And I came down Christmas morning, and it wasn't around the tree. It was to the left of the tree. It was an MTH Rail King New York Central fast freight set. It was in the little circle. You only used to get a circle with MTH. You never got an oval. It was only a circle. And it was running around in a circle, smoking and just chuffing away. And I immediately fell in love with it. I ran the wheels off of it. I still have it, of course. It's the pride and joy. If I sell everything else, I'll never ever sell that. It's got its share of battle scars now. I remember actually when I got it, I got a bunch of 30-inch straights to go with it. So I went from a circle to this gigantic oval with nothing in it of the train, little 3-car freight train looping around. But and that's also when I became a New York Central freak. on top of that was getting that set. So my parents started me off right. But yeah, I was an MTH kid. I was not a Lionel kid. I think my first Lionel set was the Polar Express I got maybe when I was when did I get a Polar? I got a Polar way later. I think it was like maybe when I was like let me think. How old was I when I got the Polar? I had to be at least 10 years old when I got the Polar Express. At least it was one of the classic ones. First run with the air whistle and the black roofs and everything. I don't have that set anymore, unfortunately. I wish I had kept that one. I want to get another one again because that's become a collectible now. For Christ's sake, I mean, the Polar is going to have its 20th anniversary next year.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 20.
Oh
That's
man,
crazy.
I can't wait to see what we get out of Lionel for that. They're going to go crazy for sure.
Yeah.
Get some
Yeah,
Berkshires, please,
Hopefully.
Lionel, please do another R&P Berkshire, please.
I'm just
But,
waiting for I'm waiting for everybody to dump their old Paramarquette 1225, the early legacy release. I'm just gonna scoop one of those up and call it a day.
There you go. That's the way to do it. But yeah, those were some of my first train memories getting those. But yeah, that's what started me off.
But yeah, John, I think I had a really similar experience too. Actually, growing up, I grew up with Rail King, and I've told the story in the podcast multiple times. But my first ever starter set was a Rail King F40 that was in Alaska paint with matching full length dome cars, which is a crazy set to think about. And it did come with straights, so it wasn't oval, and that was Proto 2. But yeah, I got my Rail King GS2, which was Imperial, and that's what got me onto my daylight addiction that I have now. But I grew up very spoiled with MTH, with full Proto 2, the PFAs, the whistles, the bells, like everything. You can't get more spoiled than an MTH starter set. So, and I don't think that was a Christmas thing. I was just given that when I was sick by my dad as a way to distract me, and it's blossomed into this now. But my first real holiday train was the Polar Express, and I remember being around the same age as you were when I wanted the set. I was watching Matt Flanagan and his legacy Berkshires and wanting to get one, but obviously I don't have legacy. I don't even have DCS. My curves are too small because much like anyone else in our hobby at that age, you had copious amounts of 036 curves from Fast Track starter sets and 031 curves from Rail King starter sets. So, that's a scale Berk is never running on that. So I wanted the Polar Express starter set. And this was when it was still all conventional. You had the air whistle tender and the train sounds tender. So I think I was around I think I must have been around fourth grade. It was my you got good grades, here's your reward kind of present. And I remember going to America's Best and getting that set with my dad. And we brought it home, we unboxed it, and I immediately put the air whistle tender to the side and grabbed the train sounds tender. And I set up the track on the basement floor, right where my layout is now, actually. And I remember putting the engine on the track, firing it up for the first time, hearing the crew talk sounds when you press the whistle, and then when I hit the direction button to get the train going, the sounds died for a second, and then it zoomed off, which is not a thing you experience with MTH because of the battery. And I remember hearing that specific point where the sounds cut off, my immersion dying as a child, and going, man, this sucks. And I was like, I don't really like Lionel anymore if it sounds like this.
That's funny.
Get this plebeian train away from me. I only need my batteries.
I want my MTH back. So I did enjoy the set though. And funny enough, I ran the Polar Express cars with my daylight because I didn't have any matching cars even then. But yeah, that was my first O scale quote unquote experience with starter sets. And eventually I did get another piece that I cherish. I don't usually get train gifts from my mom very often, let alone engines. So one Christmas she got me the conventional whistle steam Polar Express, which is something that gets overlooked so often because it was released the same catalog as the first Line Chief Polar Express. So because it was not remote controlled and was conventional, people completely ignored it. But it has the same rail sounds card as a legacy engine. In fact, I think it sounds like one of the Line Master duplexes. It has that sound.
It's got that whistle.
Yeah, it's got that whistle. It's got crew talk and the bell and a legacy style chuff with whistle.
Oh man.
but it's conventional. So
I
that was
forgot about that.
right. And Sid's done
Yeah.
a video on his channel before when I sent it out to him one year. And it is the closest you can get to, at that time, legacy sounds in a starter set engine. And I remember getting that set and that engine and being so excited. So I immediately threw my conventional one that that I loved for nostalgia reasons, but I put that one on the shelf and had this one. And that was my like showstopper Lionel engine for a long time. And I loved showing it to guests. I'm like, oh my God, smoke coming out of the whistle and all that. But yeah, it was cool. I really like that engine, and I hope one day to maybe upgrade it to Blue Nami or something like that. That way I can actually run it with command control, because it does hurt a little bit that I can't run it on my layout.
That whole era of that like experimental changeover era, that's kind of when we shifted into a new like realm with Lionel. I forgot that they had done that. That locomotive is almost a collector's piece now in its own right, just for that transition period, because I think they did a few other Burks with Whistle
Northern.
Steam as well. I think there was like the Northern Pacific. There was like a set that they did or something, or Great Northern. One of those.
Great Northern with smoke deflectors. Ironically,
yeah, that was a cool set. I wanted that set just for how cool it was. I don't even do Pacific Northwest stuff. That was just a cool set.
I should convince you to buy it when you're out here, because Tony, America's Best in Itasca, he still got it.
Oh, that's funny. Hey, I mean, at a certain point when you've run out of stuff to collect, I mean, it's cool just to start collecting interesting pieces from your past that you remember. So, kind of those wants that you never got. I think that brings us into another interesting topic. What are some, as a kid, we always have unfulfilled train dreams that just were not attainable for, either monetary reasons or just the time period. What's like that one piece you always kind of wanted that you either never got back then and you were able to get now, or that you're still looking for? What's like that dream thing that just captured your imagination that you just wanted so much as a kid to see under the Christmas tree when you got up?
I got one, and I bet you money. I would bet you $5 that Matt Z will agree with this. There is a video.
Hit it.
There's a video, and you and I have discussed this video back during our early, like 3 a.m. in the morning calls when we first became friends.
Oh, so you mean when I'm talking like this?
Where you're about to like fall asleep and face roll on your keyboard.
Oh, wow, that's accurate.
No, it is. It has happened before.
So there was this video of this guy who had set up this fast track layout around his Christmas tree.
Oh, I know where you're going with this. Not to cut you off.
It was it had like a reversing loop it was like a 1-track main, reversing loop folded on each side, folded over each other with like risers. And it was a Line Master Challenger, Legacy Line Master Challenger, pulling cars up and down this grade and over this bridge, scale cars. And he also had like a Union Pacific 1996 like SP Heritage unit also in that mix. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I wanted so bad to recreate that. And back then I talked to Madsy. I was like, I want to do this with a Line Master Challenger, with my Line Master Challenger, or with your Heritage unit someday. And fortunately, I think I sold those engines long before that chance ever arose. But I found that so cool as a kid. And ironically enough, Lionel and Christmas goes along with each other, like Coca-Cola and Christmas. But my dad didn't really like the idea of running O-scale under the tree, because he saw O-scale as something that it's very hefty and it's sort of very oily and dirty at times, if you really think about it. Like, you can't hold a steam engine or any O-scale locomotive in your hand. When you put your hand underneath the rollers or the wheels, your hand's got like marks on it. It's just a fact of O-scale.
It is.
He didn't like that because we had white carpet. He's like, you're going to ruin the carpet if you put that on.
Oh, no.
So it wasn't until I was much, much older where I had control over what went under the tree that I could do that. LGB trains were completely fine for some reason, but O-scale just wasn't. But that's my memory, that I one day I'll achieve that under the tree. But that's one thing I wish I could have done. But Matt Z, how about you? Did you have that same sentiment, or what was yours?
As I'm watching the video on my other monitor here.
You immediately called it up.
Yeah, I was like, let me find this real quick. But, oh no, for me, ironically enough, it was also a Union Pacific Heritage unit. I remember wanting the Katy Heritage unit, the original,
Oh,
2008 release.
the best one, the best in
Honestly.
real life KD unit.
I mean, Chris, I love your engine, but that's the real deal, man. But no, that one, I've always wanted that. I had the Chicago Northwestern and the Southern Pacific units. Both have gone to other homes. The SP units now at Steve's house, and so that's great to know where that one is. But I never got that one, and this is when they were going for $800-900. I'm like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. So I don't have that one, but eventually I'll get one, and it'll be in good shape, and I'll enjoy that, and maybe I'll buy them all. I mean, back in those days, it was you find all the cool Lionel stuff, and you want a whole catalog worth. But definitely that one for sure. But no, that video of the Challenger in the 1996, that was kind of the main reason why I wanted the 1996, and I do wish I had that, but yeah, maybe one day.
Dude, I'm watching the video right now, and I miss that engine. Like, it would look ridiculous on my layout now that I've moved to being so, like, I want prototypical West Coast scale everything. But I do miss it. It was a great engine. It sounded great. One of the best legacy challengers ever made in terms of the Line Master line. And also, I love the fact you could play Toto's Africa on the whistle. It was like all the perfect tones. Like,
Oh my!
it's like perfectly in pitch. Just do 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 do. It's perfect.
Of course you would. Of course you would find that, Johnny. That's such a you thing. Oh my god.
But like that, it was my favorite part, and it was the part that ruined that engine for me because I could only hear the song after I used the whistle at that point.
This sounds just like a UP Challenger.
What
That's
about you?
hilarious.
What about you,
That's
John?
cool.
What's your unobtainium engine that you couldn't find, or memory that you couldn't do?
Well, it's funny that you guys all, in your stories, hit on things that made me recall stuff from Christmas. Not just the unobtainium, but also just other things. It's funny how we all have parallels like this through the hobby that run concurrent with each other. The Katie unit made me remember that my local store, the one I always used to go to as a kid, Train Depot, was the owner, Tim. He would always run a Katie heritage unit on his layout. He had a big swooping layout that ran around the front, through the back, through like a Department 56 village and around. He always had that diesel on there. So not even being a Katie fan, I still want that diesel. I've never owned one, but he always ran one of those. I think it was actually a Rail King Imperial. What is that? An Ace? I can't remember. SD70 Ace or something.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm woefully inadequate in my modern diesel terminology, but I still want one of those diesels from being a kid. And the real unobtainium though was I always wanted an LGB starter set. I wanted the classic green engine with the red and blue coaches because as a kid, I was born in the 90s. So before, way back in my day, we had to go to physical places to buy things. None of this fancy boxes showing up from the ether in the Bezos world. We had to go to stores to buy things, if you can believe it. We had to get into our car and go to a mall. No, I'm just kidding. But I remember as a kid, the local mall near me had a couple of toy stores in it. There was, I'm trying to remember the name of the place. There were two stores in general. There was KB Toys, if any of you guys remember that, KB Toys. And there was also a place called, I think it was some weird name. It was like Mother May I or something. A very strange name for a store. But each of these stores in their windows, to get your attention, they had these LGB loops of track on the ground, like at kid level. So me being the short little kid that I was walking along the mall, seeing these little Steinz Austrian steam engines running around in a circle with the coach that had uncoupled and the engine was now pushing around in a hectic circle, passengers screaming, no, please, we're supposed to get off 50 miles ago. Just seeing those trains running around, I always wanted one. And that was just one I never got. I never got the LGB starter set as a kid. I then just like you guys have said, you quashed the childhood demon, vanquished, as it were. Later on, I obtained, when I started getting into G scale, I got a vintage 80s LGB starter set with that classic train. But yeah, that was the thing I never got as a kid. I always wanted to. Interesting, Johnny, you brought up another point that was also something in our house. We were not a train around the tree family, because trains were everywhere else in the house because of me. There was always some gigantic layout running around the family room or the rec room or something on the floor, whether it was, I don't know, wooden railway, or if it was O scale or HO. Because as I've said before, we all had that phase where we had to have everything train. It didn't matter what it was. We needed it. We had to own it. We had to be the ultimate train tycoon. So yeah, we never did the train under the tree. And we were like, oh, we have to have room for presents. And my mom always liked to do a really beautiful, like, ornate tree that had a bunch of, like, nice really like gold lined skirts around it, and these lush, like branches and pine stuff. So we didn't really do the train under the tree, and we had carpeting too. So of course, like you said, the trauma of putting an O scale engine down for the first time and realizing, oh, I need to go get the OxyClean before the parents find out that I just dumped a liter of oil on the carpet from my 10-wheeler. So yeah, no, that was also a thing that we did. But yeah, it's so funny, again, the parallels that we all kind of have between that. I love stuff like that.
That's so funny, because I had that little green LGB steam engine as a kid. I had the one that had the sounds too. Sounds and smoke was one I had. Not very advanced sounds. It was just a very basic chuff. But I had that around the tree one year, and I had the freight set. I didn't have the passenger set. So it's like an orange flat car with like a green truck on it, and the crane car that worked and had opening doors. I very distinctly remember sitting around the tree playing with said crane car, doing Lord knows what, whatever scenario I had put in my brain that I was recovering this wrecked truck or something. I don't know. But I do remember having G-scale around our Christmas tree at our townhouse. It was a massive Christmas tree too. And then I remember when we moved to our current house, we actually did, I think I did Bachman HO around the tree one year when I was much older, because HO is not meant for a child as young as I was back then, so I had to do much older. But the one I remember distinctly with, and this kind of links in with a little bit with the post-war guys too, and classic Lionel under the tree. Ironically, this wasn't Lionel though. I had the Lego Santa Fe Super Chief under the tree.
Oh my god!
And the lights off with the Christmas tree lights, and the Santa Fe Super Chief under the layout running, with the glow of the lights on the windows, and that war bonnet paint was perfection. You can't get more Christmas than that. Santa Fe war bonnet just goes so well with it. And I remember it was such a cool memory. I built like a little signal, and I put this Department 56 style station next to the tracks, and I built this railroad crossing with Lego, and it was such a good time until my mother decided to start putting tinsel on the tree, and then all this tinsel started getting wrapped inside the axles and the motor. Oh god!
Oh jeez! Oh no!
But until the invasion of tinsel, it was fantastic. Like I said, you can't get more iconic Christmas than War Bonnet and Christmas. You can't.
Oh yeah, no kidding, man. The PTSD I just got from the tinsel thing, because I used to occasionally help out my local hobby shop owner. He would he would get busy around the holidays, and I would help him out with repairs and such on trains. And the tinsel, the oily 6,000 revolution wrapped tinsel around drive rods and axles and crank pins. It's the antichrist of the train around the tree. It's the worst thing ever. Please, for the love of God, keep tinsel away from your trains. Think of your local hobby shop repairman. Do not put tinsel near your trains.
Oh no, yeah. Trying to clean
Yeah.
that stuff up after the holidays too. Oh, forget about it.
Oh, you'd be finding stuff in
It ain't
summer.
happening. No, I'll tell you, with my layout for me, I cannot wait. I need to finish paying Matt for those plated passenger cars. That with his F7s, the TMCC. Oh man, that is just going to be the coolest train I think I'm going to own. Period. I cannot wait for that.
Oh
It's
yeah,
gonna be so cool.
The Christmas lights, like you said, Johnny. God, that's such an evocative image of the lights reflecting off of the train window. Quick question: were you guys colored lights on the trees or white lights on the trees? I was a white and gold lights on the tree household. What about you guys?
We had both.
We had both. Yeah, we had both, or they would alternate. But it was mostly colored lights for us in our household. Ironically, my aunt was a blue Christmas tree kind of gal. Blue lights, blue ornaments, blue everything. But no, we were colored lights all the way.
Oh wow, was she secretly Elvis? Was she? Let's stop before we get copyrighted. Actually, no, I don't think they would be able. That's a new intellectual property I just came up with that sound.
Tony will have to back us up on that
one. Yeah, but man, that's so evocative. Now, another thing both of you mentioned in your stories there was Department 56. Now, I know that's a huge part of a lot of people's Christmas memories is Department 56 and the different villages. I know a lot of our friends love it in our Discord servers. We see it on a lot of their layouts just because they've made so many wonderful buildings that you can't get anywhere else that are pretty close to O scale. Is Department 56 a big part of your guys' layout history, whether it's just your regular layouts or Christmas, or what do you guys have in terms of your memories of that brand?
Madsy, I'm gonna give it to you, man. This is your topic.
Yeah,
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, so for me, Department 56, to be honest, it was really mainly, in around the tree, Christmassy type deal. We had a bunch of Department 56 in, my back room, if you're on the Discord, behind where my shelves are. And, it's always, we were always, cleaning back there and, looking through boxes and stuff. And I always saw these buildings and they're some were up on the wall and some were in their boxes and stuff. And then, when I go over to my grandma's, she's got, boxes and boxes of, Department 56 and all of that. And I'm like, you know what? One day I'm going to do something with these things that isn't just, put them out a couple times a year and be done with it. So I'm like, you know what? When I was thinking about what I wanted to do for a lad, I'm like, I'll do the Christmas idea. Because then I could use these buildings. You know what I mean? So I gathered a bunch that I have from the back room and a couple that I've gotten in and stuff like that. And so I'm like, I'm going to use these things. So Department 56 has been with me all my life. And it's always really cool. I remember, I'm sure we'll talk about this later, but the TM, watching all theirs, seeing that Lino electric trains. I was so excited when I bought that last year. Oh man, when that package came, I'm like, thank God I finally have this. Oh, so cool.
I remember when you got that, you were so excited. That was such a cool moment. That is an iconic building. That is legendary.
You cannot have a Christmas train without that building. That was in every single, promo Christmas thing. It was there. That building is Christmas and trains 1,000,000%.
Want to support your favorite O-Scale podcast and rock some awesome merch? Well, now you can. We've teamed up with Redbubble.com and have come up with a great selection of gear that you can get right now. They have everything from shirts, hoodies, stickers, mugs, bags, you name it. Heck, you can even get a wall clock with us on it. All this great stuff and more at Redbubble.com. Links are down in the show notes, so grab yourself some gear and rock some awesome podcast merch.
Absolutely. Johnny, what about you? Do you have any fond memories of Department 56?
So Department 56 doesn't have as much nostalgia for me as it does for Matt Z, but I did get really excited about Christmas time and the Christmas villages coming out. being going to the store as a child and going to like I'll use Menards as an example. Back in the day, even now, you got to see their little Christmas Village display that would come out, or like Michael's or any craft store. You know, you see that Christmas Village come out, and to me back then, Menards didn't have like Trainz stuff as they did now. They didn't have their building, so this was the closest I'd get to seeing miniature whatever in a general public store, in a public like grocery store or a hardware store or what have you. So I really love that. And also being a kid with no access to scale models or no money for like a Rail King building or a Lionel building, buying the Christmas stuff was the closest you would get to buildings with a layout. So there was no Menards building. You'd buy the Christmas train station or the Christmas hardware store, and you put in your floor layout as a kid, and there was your downtown. But most of my nostalgia for Department 56 comes from TM, much like Mad Z said. You had the magical Christmas train song ingrained in your brain, whether you liked it or not, whether you were actually watching the video about that, or if you were watching like the end trailers and the end of I Love Toy Trains, you always heard that song. It was a magical train that only appears on cold winter night. What cold winter night? One day of the year is I think the main chorus.
And now it's stuck in my head again. Thank you,
You're
Johnny. I
welcome.
really appreciate that you brought this up.
It's been in my head as he was talking about it. I'm like, yeah.
I have the
earworm is
older.
there.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Up until just now, I had the older version of the "It's a Lionel Christmas Hey," the knockoff Tony Bennett guy doing the "Hey, yeah, it's a Lionel." I had that going in my head. Now I've got that looping in my. Thank you, Johnny.
That's funny. You got that in my brain now because I was watching that before our show tonight to get into the holiday spirit. But God, that was one of them for sure. But yeah, a lot of my nostalgia comes from that, and during Christmas time, when I was researching the Polar Express train set, when I was a kid, you see a lot of Christmas layouts when you're doing research on a set like that. So that was a lot of inspiration for me too. I remember, I'm pretty sure we all watched this video as a kid at some point. It's some guy with a fast track layout that's AstroTurf, and it's like a fast track figure 8 in the middle and then a bunch of loops around it. It's like in like the crunchiest quality ever because it was like 2012, but I did that, and then like this random Department 56 buildings in the middle, like very sparingly in there. That's another memory for me. But yeah, Department 56 is pretty cool, and I appreciate it. It's obviously not my cup of tea now since I've moved on to modeling a desert, and Department 56 has no business being on my layout at this moment. But I do miss that, and I have a lot of nostalgia for the old TM stuff. But how about you, John?
So again, going back to the first of all, fantastic stories. I just love hearing the different traditions and the way people the similarities and differences between how we all got things ingrained into our heads from where and what and how. The biggest thing for me was going to the mall around Christmas time as a kid was so magical. I always loved going shopping with my mom. She would always take me with her. And I'm trying to remember the store in the mall that I think it was actually the Hallmark store. I could be wrong on that. I think it was Hallmark or another store like it. In the back of the store, back then Department 56 was very big. This is early 2000s. Very, very big. Before I think they went, I think they were still made in America too. And you would get like, as a store, if you wanted to sell Department 56, you would get like a merchandiser set where you would get, you would get this display to show off the product, and you would get, a certain number of buildings that would come out, and every year you'd restock it. But the merchandiser was a village setup, and I'm sure you guys know that they would have like Department 56 themed trains that would come out, and usually they were Bachmann ON30 sets that they would have. So I remember always wanting to see the little Bachmann mogul running around with the coaches. It would like pop in and out of a tunnel around here, and it was such a cool just anytime I got to see a train or something miniature out in the wild was so fun. to be able to, it was like a little treat out in public to be able to see something like that. And I think, again, my old hobby shop, Train Depot, going there, I believe he used to be a huge Department 56 dealer. And I think he actually had a very similar merchandiser that had that little ON30 train running around it. But yeah, just always remember going there and getting to see that. We didn't do a lot of Department 56 in my family, like for layouts or anything like that, just because we didn't do Christmas themed layouts. But one thing we do always do, still to this day, we've done it every single year. We had found, like, in a yard sale, so my mom and I used to go to yard sales all the time when I was a kid. And when my mom and I were kids together was what I was about to say there before I caught myself. No, when we found I think it was like an HO scale Department 56 village. I don't remember what theming it was, because every like set has its theming. There's like the Dickens village, and there's like like Christmas in the City and stuff. I think this was like a New England village, and they were smaller scale buildings, because most of them are more like O and S scale. These were very small buildings, and it was a little village set, and it was just adorable. We loved it, and we've set it up every year. No trains with it. It's just by itself. It's just a winter village, and it goes on our sideboard every year, and the little incandescent lights. It's still got all its original light bulbs and everything. It probably eats like 80 watts of power with its incandescent bulbs, getting the buildings red hot. But yeah, no, it's such a nice part of Christmas. I always look forward to doing that, getting that set up. But yeah, they haven't played a gigantic role in my life, but we have our traditions and our memories as well in my family. So yeah, that's one of the big things I like to think about. And a lot of other people have nostalgia for that, again, with the TM videos, just being a part of that, and the lights reflecting off, and the unpretentiousness of them, as I always like to say. There's no pretension about them. They are just meant for fun and to be enjoyed. And some of them are even still pretty valuable. Like, I think, Matt Z, wasn't that Lionel building still commands a pretty penny, doesn't it, as a collector's piece?
Oh yeah, it can. I'm sure there are brand new ones in the box, and I'm sure probably worth some good money. I think I paid like $50 for mine out the door.
That's not bad.
I'm like, hey, we'll take that. But no, I always remember watching that early release of the El Cap for MTH, the plated 15-inch cars with the F3 running around with the off the Christmas lights. Oh man, you want to talk about plating? That's beautiful set. Those aluminum cars were something else. But no, yeah, it's really cool stuff. But like I said, that building, really cool stuff. And I gotta throw a big shout out to Bryce in the Discord. He's a O-scale train lover, and man, he was kind of the reason why I started to do this whole Christmas theme. He was kind of the final nail in the coffin for the Christmas theme. I'm like, you know what? I saw this, I got to do it. So,
oh yeah,
it's kind of that.
Bryce's layout is, I can attest to that too, and I'm sure you can too, Johnny. His layout is fantastic. It's so nostalgic and Christmassy. I believe he also, just to plug him a minute here, he also doesn't he do that podcast about Gene Shepard, the recordings of tying another thing into Christmas? Doesn't he do that Gene Shepard recordings archive podcast? Yeah, and that relates,
yes, he does.
Gene Shepard, of course, the writer of the book which eventually became the movie A Christmas Story. So again, he has that tie with that, which we all enjoy. But yeah, I still, the one thing I still need to get that I love, my favorite Department 56 building that I want to have just as an ownership thing, is the Krispy Kreme restaurant. God, that's such a cool building.
Sid shows that to me every Christmas, and I'm like, man, I need to get one of those. So you got to get the sign.
Yep, it's so iconic. I love. Yeah, Sid's got one. I'm sure Bryce has one on his layout. One of the places. Oh man, one of the dearly departed local attractions near me, which is now gone. The Roads and Rails Museum in Frederick had a little winter layout. They are not. I shouldn't say gone. Their original location is gone. They are looking for a new location. But I used to go there every year at Christmas as well, and throughout the year too. But they had a little winter layout that had the like a little easy street trolley running around the firehouse, but the Krispy Kreme donuts was on the end. I gotta have one of those. It's a pretty good O-scale building. Like, if you didn't know it wasn't Department 56, you might get fooled into thinking it was a scale building, because it's a pretty good representation. You could get away with having that on a no scale layout if you tried to spruce it up a little bit and make it look maybe a little bit weathered. But that's the one piece I want to get for sure. Speaking of layouts and going to visit places, do you guys have any memories of like display layouts you would always go and see, or like you got to see one time and never again? Like, what do you guys have any memories of Christmas display layouts you would go to and make a tradition out of every year?
I don't think we really had any that I could think of that I went to. At least not intentionally for Christmas. The layout that I have a lot of nostalgia for, and for some reason I associate it with Christmas. I think it was more a fall thing though. Is the Roselle show that the Midwest division of the TCA did, a Midwest Modular Group that our buddy Tim is part of. I remember the first time I ever saw that layout was towards like the fall winter season, and I remember my mom brought me there before like my Saturday like church RE classes or something like that. And I spent hours just running around chasing trains that they were running that day. I remember they're running some sort of NNW articulated, hence why I got my Class A at one point, is because I loved that hooter whistle. And it was my first ever experience running a command control Lionel engine. They just gave me the cab one and I just went buck nutty with it. Or there was a Daylight. I think it was an MTH Warbaby pulling Premier Daylight cars. And that with, I think IRM had a booth that day and some other smaller clubs or groups were also there. And that train show, the Christmas train show, I guess, is the other memory, as well as going to like the December show for the Great Midwest Train Show that happens every first Sunday of the month. Those were Christmas memories for me in terms of model trains. How about you, Madzi?
I remember going to the Culinary Institute downtown, and they had this setup that they had. They had it wasn't really like a show per se, but it was, they had a couple dealers there selling stuff and whatnot. But I always remember watching the, big layout setup with the Christmas tree around it. They had the Lionel Mohawk, the early release, the 1991 release. I always remember watching that run and always seeing the marker lights on the back. I don't know why that sticks with me, but that one I always remember watching that run. And I went there, I think 3 or 4 years ago, and just saw what they were running and stuff like that, and it's always pretty cool. And then around Christmas time, we had one of the malls that had a little O scale setup, larger, I believe it was HO or N. And then they had a small little shop with stuff. I remember all things at a Rail King box, and it was the TCA exclusive PAs, the orange and black PAs. I always remember seeing those, and I always thought they were pretty neat. But it's been about the display layouts. I really haven't. Don't have any other memories, but I guess I'm building my own. Maybe that's how we'll look at it. But that's what I got for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, maybe that must be a big me thing, because it just must be in our area, the Washington, D.C. area. We have had quite a few pretty good layouts every year. One that I always would do with my family was we'd go down to the to Union Station, and they have a huge. I'm actually not sure if they're still doing it. I haven't done it since the pandemic, but they would always put out this big LGB layout of this like New England harbor town in the middle of the grand hall there. And it was so cool getting to see it run around, and it was really good detail. Seeing a really good, well-detailed G-scale layout. Christmas time always for me is evocative because I do O-scale normally. I always think of G-scale as the real like Christmas, big Christmas gauge for me. Just having those big sturdy trains. And the sort of just folksy warmth that they provide, that old time look. And that was always for me. But my favorite, the one that stands out most prominently in my mind is there's a place near me. And if you guys are ever in the area, I got to take you guys to this place. It's an original, working. It still operates. It's a whole area. It's a place called Colvin Run Mill. It's this old antique working. I think it was built in like the 1700s or something. It's really old. It's a working water grist mill. with the big wheel on the side and everything, and has like, you know, the old like mill keeper's house and a blacksmith shop and this old store, and the whole thing operates as like a county park with these original, you know, like people in period costumes set up and everything, and it's this really immersive, beautiful place. In the middle of this suburban area where I live, this old little time capsule. It's one of my favorite places in the world. But I remember as a little kid, I don't even remember how old I was, very, very young. But I remember going into this blacksmith shop, and it's a working blacksmith shop. They have a big hall in there. So, you know, they're pounding anvils outside, and, you know, they have the big puffers and smoke billowing everywhere, and that fantastic like ironwork smell going on. And inside this hall was this huge G-scale layout set up on the floor. It was just trains running around on track. But I remember, I just remember so much of that, you know, seeing the LGB moguls running around. And one thing that sticks out to me, it must have been a Lionel model, because I don't think Bachmann were making those. It was a Bachmann, it was a Lionel G-scale James. And I was huge Thomas kid, and I remember seeing that running around. I wanted that huge James so badly. It still sticks out in my mind. But for me, those were the big things. G scale has always been the scale that's associated with me with the holidays. So yeah, it's interesting just seeing how, you know, I'm sure people have memories. God, I wish I could have gone back in time and, you know, gone to like New York and seen the original Lionel dealer display layouts, the big the fact, I mean, who wouldn't give anything to go see the original headquarters layout? You know, it would have been something to see.
Yeah. Which Union Station did you say had the layout that you would go to, John?
Washington D.C., Washington Union Station.
You know, it's funny. You just reminded me. This is something I watch every year during the holiday season. So it's I think it's the U.S. the U.S. Air Force Band made a video of their holiday flash mob they did in 2015 at the Union Station in D.C. And you can very distinctly see the layout in the background, and it appears in a couple of shots. But the reason why I love that video so much, speaking of going back in time, that year they decided they're going to do Jingle Bells as their flash mob, but they're going to do it in World War II style. Old-timey music, period accurate clothing, the works. And with that layout in the background, the World War II jazziness that comes with it, and just the choreography, the clothing, everything. It's just so well done. I have to show this to you after the show.
I have to see this. This sounds fantastic. I can't believe I've never heard of this. This is fantastic.
You got to show that.
Yeah, I'll show it to you guys after the show here tonight. But it's so cool. And when you were like, yeah, it's this layout with this, and it's like I've seen it vaguely from like 75 feet away. I've seen this layout, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
You've shared the experience. That's fantastic. I love stuff like that. I never knew that was a thing.
Yeah, it's so cool. If you guys haven't seen it, for the listeners, if you guys haven't seen it, go on YouTube, search up USAF Band World War II Holiday Flashback. If it's about 9 minutes long, it is worth it. If you love just that kind of era, and just if not for that, it's just so Christmassy and awesome. You just feel good after you watch it. But that kind of brings me on to something I want to segue over to. So we've talked about, you know, layouts and visiting, stuff like that. Did you guys ever ride any Christmas trains? Like sometimes like a local railroad museum or the local railroad will do a holiday something, you know. We've seen like CP's holiday train, or CSX does their Santa Claus special, or sometimes railroad museums will do their Polar Express. Have you guys ever experienced anything like that before? Like, John, have you ever had that experience growing up?
So sadly, in the area where I live, we actually don't have a lot of heritage rail operations. There's no real like tourist lines or any major rides like that. The closest thing that we did have, I remember doing as a kid in elementary school, was Virginia Railway Express, our local commuter railroad here. I don't know if they still do it or not, but they would do a Santa train run out of a local, one of the stations near me, and you would get on the train and go out and back, along a certain, predetermined amount of track, I think like maybe 2 or 3 stations down the line and back, and Santa would come through and give you guys, candy and everything. So it was very much a metropolitan area Christmas train experience of riding a commuter train. doing that. But that was I think that was really the only time that I actually did like a holiday train ride, quote unquote. I know it's very popular seeing, all the railroads that do the Polar Express train rides and everything like that, and the the storybook rides and everything to Santa. But no, I haven't really done a lot of that. We were much more about the layout visits as a family. We didn't do the holiday train rides. What about you guys?
Betsy, did you have any experiences like that, or are you also like you didn't really have that experience?
Yeah, and I never really had, like, I've seen them done, and I've seen like pictures and stuff, but no, I've never done one myself. No.
Got you. So I did have that experience. So ironically, it wasn't at IRM or anything like that where you think I would have that experience, but it was actually when I was, I think, in either late middle. No, it had to be early high school. Yeah, it was early high school, and the girl I was dating at the time, she had a fondness for the Polar Express book and for the movie. It was a big part of her Christmas checklist, and it was a family tradition for them to get together and read the Polar Express book together. And when I heard that, I'm like, oh, I gotta give her a Christmas present that's related to the Polar Express. She'll love it. And then later on, my mom told me that the West Chicago Park District was doing a special trip with Metro that year for the Polar Express. So she was like, well, I'm taking your sister. Do you want to come along? I'm like, well, if they're doing the Polar Express, I guarantee they're going to give out a ticket. They always do. And they might give out the bell. So what I'm thinking is I'll buy her the book and I'll get her the ticket. So it's like something immersive and and the bell to give her the full Polar Express experience. So I'm like, okay, I'll go. So the day comes and we're waiting outside the train station in West Chicago, and the Metro train comes in. It's just a normal gallery cars and an F40 behind it, and it's shoving the train towards the end of the West Line. So we get on, and I'm looking around, and I'm clearly the oldest kid, quote unquote, on the train, but that's fine. At least it's a train ride for me. And we're riding the train all the way to the end of the line or to the North Pole, and we come back. And as we're getting close to the end of the trip, on the way outbound, the Santa comes through, and Santa pulls out the Polar Express book, and he reads the book, and then he gives out the first gift of Christmas, which is the bell. And obviously, they're not just going to give the bell out to one kid; they're giving the bell out to every kid. Well, keep this in mind: I'm riding in a gallery car, a double-decker car, full of children, and they just give out bells. The headache I had on the way back because they were just shaking the bells the entire dang time. I'm just sitting there leaning my head against the window, watching the scenery go by. I'm like, she is so freaking lucky that I'm doing this for her right now for her Christmas gift. But at the end of the trip, I got off the train. I had this giant like cardstock golden ticket for Polar Express, and I had a bell with a little ribbon on it. And I gave that to her as her Christmas gift, and she was elated that year. It was wonderful. She loved it. And we actually had my sister got one, my mom got one, and I got one. And my sister kept hers, I'm pretty sure. And then my mom didn't really care much for it, so she gave it to me. So I still have that ticket. I don't have the bell. I have the ticket is still on my wall. It's actually behind my backdrop. So you see like little bits of Polar Express, whatever that was taped to my wall many moons ago, peeking out from behind my backdrop, and behind there is that golden ticket from that headache-inducing Polar Express ride.
Enjoying this week's topic? You can join in on the conversation too on our community Discord server. We have a lot of different discussion channels, ranging from showing off your collection, discussing the latest and greatest in the industry, a buy and sell forum, and even a voice channel you can hop on, call, and talk trains with us late into the night. We're a little over 300 strong, and we'll love to have you join us too. Check out the invite link to our community Discord down in the show notes. Read and acknowledge the rules, and introduce yourself and start chatting. We have a great team of moderators who make sure all are welcomed and respected. So what are you waiting for? Come on down and join us in on the fun, and let's talk some trains.
I just picture Johnny, you getting off the train and just doing the Courage the Cowardly Dog bit, just looking into the camera and just going, the things I do for love.
I just thought of Courage just with his mind completely broken doing that laugh when he that insane like exactly. That's just my mind being broken from hearing bells for at least 30 minutes straight.
What did you get for Christmas, tinnitus? God. Yeah, that's so sweetie though, man. Oh my God, that's such a you thing. The romantic. Oh man.
The romantic with a headache.
Yes,
What
indeed.
What'd you get for Christmas tonight? Yes. It's like the picture we were talking about yesterday, talking about the early demonstrator for the Centipede. It was, how many portholes do you want on the side of this engine? Yes. Right?
But yeah, fun times.
Absolutely.
Well, that's a fantastic story about the gift that keeps on giving. And speaking of, we've got an amazing community, and we'd like to take a moment to shout out some fantastic people who have boosted the server and helped us keep the lights on here at Miniature Models Podcast. We'd like to thank Dashing Dan's Trainz, Everyday is Life, Tim's Trainz, and of course, SD70 Train Fan. We really appreciate you guys. It's you who inspire us to keep the show going. And as we always say, we make the show for all you guys. So we really appreciate you guys doing that for us. Guys, tonight was a freaking awesome show, but it's time to wrap a bow around it and stick it under the tree. If you'd like to get more of us off the air, where can folks find you, Matt Z?
All right, so you can find me on YouTube under Matt-Trainlover9943, on Facebook under the same name, Instagram is Matts.Hobbies. And then you can also find me on the Miniature Models Discord server, as always, talking in the chats and having a good old time, showing off the, Christmas in progress layout and all that. So definitely be sure to check out the Discord for more information on any of our episodes and, buy, sell, talk, all that good stuff. So be sure to come on down.
All right. Johnny, where can folks find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Audamus. That's AUDAMUS. I am still working away on my big boy video, so hopefully I'll get it done before the end of the year. Otherwise, you can call me a dirty liar. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook at Audamus_Trainz, where I'm significantly more active than I am on my YouTube channel. I just uploaded some great photos of my layout of all of my GSs lined up in a row, if you want to see that shot, or every era of SP paint scheme listed into one photo of all the diesels I own. Definitely check it out on there if you want to see that. Last but not least, you can find me on the Miniature Models Podcast Community Discord, where I am reading and responding to all of your posts and I'm making a fool of myself in the voice chat. So come on down. It's lots of fun.
Oh, yeah. We always have a good time on the Discord server there. You can find our friend who's not here tonight, unfortunately, Matt Rochford. You can find him at WC Model Railroad at all of his links, Instagram, on Discord, and on YouTube. And you can find me, John Schwartz, at RetroMikado96 on Instagram, RetroMikado on YouTube. I've actually got my 2 big end of the year videos coming up pretty soon. I can't wait to share those with you guys. Lots of good layout running action, friend hijinks with my friends Johnny and everybody else. And you can also find me in the Miniature Models Podcast Discord server, where I am talking with all you wonderful people, my co-hosts here, and just having a good time like we're all talking about. Come on down, stop by. There's a link to our Discord if you're not a member yet in our YouTube channel, and you can find us there having a good time as always. We love you guys so much. We really appreciate everything you do for us. Like I said, we make this for you, so keep on trucking with us. And yeah, guys, I think that was a really good show. Anything else you all want to add?
Have a happy holiday, a Merry Christmas, and hopefully you guys will stick around with us as we keep making a fool of ourselves and go into the next year.
Yeah. What more to say? Merry Christmas, everyone. Take good care.
Absolutely, guys. Have a happy holiday season. Stay safe. Hopefully you get many, many, many trains under the tree and have the best time you can possibly do, because, make memories with your family, spend time with the people you care about, and spend time with us as well, because we love having you all around. Take care, guys, and happy holidays and Merry Christmas.
See everyone. Avoid tinsel.
Yes, avoid tinsel like the plague.
Yeah. Definitely do that.
Take care, y'all.
Bye-bye.